to give up and didn't really have that drive.
The expectation should be to win first place.
Get them to ascend.
We kind of just threw at the end.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, M80 were winning 5 versus 3.
Look how quick this one.
Oh!
Ambrosia with the very first map in this series, but as we head into the second map of Split, even if it's a pretty close game, M80, a little bit more coordination, a little bit more comfort, and they're going to officially, it's so beautiful, Dan, they're officially going to take us to a map 3. Let's go. Being able to see this M80 squad, I mean, there's a lot of expectations. Of course, it's M80. They just got Victor and they just got Jet in. Like, there's a lot of expectations, but this looks like a little bit like their old selves.
I think more than the first half, it was all about the timeouts between these two that really make the difference when you see the side of Ambrosia take those timeouts. On that first half, it was more, hey, Satellite, let's not go in by yourself. Let's not take those fights where he was not finding any success. Let's actually play back, and that looks so much better for them. When you go into the second half for them, it was a little bit of that same story, but if, okay, let's play this one tempo, go in all together, go to that TP as the Omen and the Euro were doing towards side. But the M80 last time I feel like what really made the difference when things were 9-9. The play is just to get a little bit more proactive on that defensive side, right? It's starting to fight a lot more of what we were seeing towards mid, what we were seeing towards heaven, towards B heaven specifically. And taking those fights to Ambrosia in a way that they were not comfortable to do so at all. Obviously, we talked a lot about Okeanos, what he was doing, not only on this map, but throughout the series. But I think there's some pieces like Victor as well that was constantly playing towards A heaven that, yeah, he's not getting in the fight all the time. He's not the one who's always taking those duels, but he's able to, with the firepower alone and with that position, close and save so many of the rounds for the side of M80 that it made it turn out that way. I mean, it was 9-9 at one point where Ambrosia were getting 3 rounds in a row. We thought it was going to be over, so it was a nice recovery with that timeout from Chet to make sure that we're going to a map 3.
Absolutely. I think the push and pull is just so important, especially when you're running this double controller composition for the side of M80. You lack a lot more of that passive utility. Yes, you do have like a lot of stall with that Viper, with that Astra setup, but you do still have to do some of that information searching across the map. And that was where we saw that big difference that Dan was talking about when they were denying some of that info or going for info themselves to get better reads on the defense. So I do want to give credit to Ambrosia. I think that something that they've consistently shown us throughout both Ascent and Split is how potent their post plans are. I think we saw some really cool ideas coming out from Sean Dex's Deadlock. I really liked some of those sound sensors that were being placed. One round in particular that sticks out to me is like round 17, where we saw the sound sensor placed over towards ramps and then main as well. And then the fact that he's not afraid to like pull them back too. I feel like it just allows Ambrosia to be really dynamic and make it a little bit harder for M80 to push back into those, even though they weren't able to take this map win.
I mean, M80, they definitely had a couple things stacked against them. When Ambrosia has these 14 first bloods, with 10 of them being between Satellite and Glyph, Ambrosia, their first 2 timeouts, they definitely had really good bounce backs after that. And for M80, it's, I think, maybe just a little difficult to warm up on for today, because we do get to see some glimpses of this M80. This is definitely better than what we got to see out of this map 1. But I think the most important thing that I wanted to look at was how everyone across the board was going to be able to step up, because Oki had a great performance map 1 and map 2. The rest of the team maybe just wasn't quite on the same plane, but a better step up from the rest of M80. And Dan, like, Oki will be able to shine with a victory under his belt.
It's been looking pretty good for Oki from map 1 to map 2, and we even saw it in that second round going to the second half, right, where we think it's over and he wins that 1v3, gets the last player, gets Welly on the off angle too with the Guardian, and he's been doing this constantly, right? When he has to take those duels 1v1, that's when he's shining the most. But I think on top of that, he is bringing so much more with this Tejo utility that we've seen now on map 1 and the second one just now. What is so cool to me is that you saw what Ambrosia had to do was kind of play around it, try to be one step ahead of Okeanos, and it was impossible. Even when you talk about how often he was getting this Armageddon and how often there were some fights like on that round 16 is a 5v5 retake. You know the Armageddon for Okeanos is going to come through. It forces all the players on Ambrosia to play forward, to play around the smokes of the enemy team and do little things like that where you're so aware of how good Okeanos is with the Tejo utility, but also how good he is on those duels that he was getting constantly.
And the thing is, we're heading to Fracture next, right? Another Tejo map there for Okeanos that they don't look to change their composition, which I don't imagine, at least for his particular role, will happen. You've got 4 alt orbs to play with there. I'm going to be looking towards M80 prioritizing both Caillou and Okeanos for getting those ults online. We've seen the wombo combos that come out from them for a lot of that site zoning, and I'm really excited to see that dynamic play continue forward, because I feel like M80 heading into our 3rd map definitely look really scary there, Sierra, considering if he's able to continue forward with this performance.
This is terrifying on all fronts. So first off, there is the Okeanos issue, which is he's amazing today. He's always been great, but he's just really a cut above, and you're going on a map where he's definitely super strong. Also, M80 have just looked really strong on Fracture for a little bit now. Technically, their win rate for split one's 50%, but they turned it around that second half of things. And the last 3 in a row, where on the other end of things, Dan, for Ambrosia, we don't really get to see this map from them. And the last time we did, it was the only map throughout the entire promotion relegation tour that they ended up losing, and in kind of a rough fashion. So Ambrosia, they've made some changes, but will it be enough to make a difference here?
I'm honestly going into this match, as we've gone through map 1 and map 2, kind of going with no expectations on what the teams are going to be playing here, because of what we talked about. Ambrosia, they take out 2 of the players after winning promotion relegation, and you have to be expecting the team to look very different. And for M80 as well, being in Victor and coming in with a Viper that we just saw on Split, so you're expecting different team things from these teams. But one thing that I'm sure of, though, is that Ambrosia, like, no matter what happens here, no matter who is going to win that Fracture, they are a really good contender. They've been looking insane so far. And I think Fracture, I gotta be honest, when I think of Fracture, all these years have passed and I'm still thinking of the Victor Neon. I'm not saying that he's gonna play the Neon, most likely not, but this is just his map, and I want to see what he's gonna be able to do with this new roster and with Shed as well on the board.
For Fracture as the decider here, it's definitely something for M80 with this new piece. Can be a lot of fun, but I think when we talked about this entire series as a whole being a litmus test for Ambrosia and what they're capable of, I think Fracture is going to be the biggest test of this. I think the rest of the series has been a really good indication of, yeah, they deserve to be in this league. That promotion, it was a really good thing, and they definitely can hang with these teams. But when we look at a couple of these weaker maps here, Ash, and we're looking at an Ambrosia that has changed things up, how much depth is there to this team at this stage?
I think that's where the big question lies, right? And I feel like I'm not going to make a prediction as far as how this ends up, but I will say that if Ambrosia is capable of okay, Dan, please. But I'm saying if Ambrosia is capable of taking this 2-1 up against M80, I feel like this is one of those matches that can give them the momentum going forward for the remainder of this split to continue to build forward. I feel like we are just seeing, the floor for this team. They just made these big adjustments to their roster, and I think it's only up from here if this is just the beginning.
I think one thing that I'm looking for this Fracture too, for M80, something that would probably completely eliminate Ambrosia from this, is Sato's been a little bit quieter today. We love to call this the Sato rating room, because when Sato pops off, he pops off. But Fracture has been something that's been strong for him. I'm excited to see with map 3 in the series, heading to our agent select now, if we can start seeing a clinic coming out from Sato. Because I think if Sato comes online, Ambrosia, no matter how clean this is, might have a little difficulties here. Going into the map select, a lot of these regular things coming out from M80. I mean, Dan, I know it's no Victor Neon, but still, Victor's been a lot of fun today. But you do get to see Neon from the other end, from Satellite.
Yeah, I am happy with what I'm seeing right now. Satellite has been playing on this whole match, so I want to see how he's going to be able to play a little bit faster. Ambrosia definitely look more comfortable when they're playing for this faster tempos, this one hit into sight. So if they're able to keep up with what Satellite is doing, there's a big chance that they could start really strong. But now looking at the other side, like you said, yeah, obviously it's not going to be the Victor Neon, even though, I miss it. I wouldn't be mad if we were to see something like that. It's just one guy that he's going to be on the Brimstone, and he's going to be incredibly consistent holding on to these sides as he's done before. He did a map 1 a little bit. He did a map 2 as they got the win. And I'm keeping my eyes on what he's able to do alongside Okeanos to keep this consistency and potentially get M80 to get this win that most people predicted.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we talked about Oki, we talked about Victor, and we've talked a bit about Sato as well, but one person I do want to highlight on the side of M80 before we head into this is going to be Caillou on that breach. He is old, reliable, especially on Fracture. I feel like Caillou is consistently putting out numbers, whether it's his own micro play, but then also his setup utility for Sato, I feel like is consistently sublime on this map here as well. And his calling too, with how dynamically they're able to play, and he's able to pivot some of those set plays into something a little bit more dynamic there. So I'm looking forward to seeing that from M80, and the IGL is definitely a player to also keep your eyes out for.
I mean, the path has been laid out, and it's definitely a long road for Ambrosia. But when we looked at how we thought things were going to end up in the series, we didn't necessarily think a map 3 was in the card. So the fact they brought it here and this matches have been close is one thing. Let's see if they can make the upset, or if it's going to be M80 to start off the season with a win. It's time to head into the server, into the game, and back over to your casters, Uber and White, to take you through.
Thank you very much. Off to Fracture we go. Obviously, recently, I think it was being discussed in the desk a fair bit why we kind of liked what we saw from M80 in that grand final. It's the only map they were able to win in the Stage 1 playoffs against their Shopify Rebellion Black team, who came out of nowhere to be so dominant. So again, I'm not surprised to see expectations pretty high. A bit of role switch up here as Victor's sort of, off the center here, moving to the brim for this map. Bao, of course, will be on that Cypher, and I'm quite happy to see Sato here on the Raze. I feel like it's definitely one of his better picks.
The good thing about having Vic on the team is that he plays a ton of different roles. He did that historically for the NV/Optic/NRG team over the years, can pick up realistically anything that these guys need. This is map 3 with one of our best teams and challengers versus one of the lowest seeds that we have. This would be a remarkable upset to kick things off.
Purported best teams. We'll see how we feel after the break and how they're looking here, but so far not so bad. Satellite trying to get onto the side of that fast lane is got to be caught as they try and push through.
He was hoping to catch one, not two. And despite having them both stunned up, difficult to actually capitalize there. They want to fight forward right now, find an advantage.
Pushing to Canteen, and also over towards the link side here. So I love this Ambrosia pushing off the side entirely, refusing just to be caught out in the open. I'm going to pivot over towards the A side of the map here. I love this little pistol round strat, and M80 are a second or so behind in terms of kind of piecing it together.
Certainly more than enough time for those abilities to be cycled back up. And matter of fact, there's both of them. You've got your missiles and your fault line now. As well, going to be caught out in the open, though. This could get awkward now. Going to play off of that tripwire, get back into A main.
He hears this as well. He knows he can double down with a bit of extra CC. Hold the fault line, though. Sato might have been infected by it, but Welly doesn't feel confident enough. Maybe he heard an extra pair of footsteps and realized that.
I like it.
At best, it could have been a trade.
Play safe. Play safe. Get back to your teammates on site.
Welly tucked in the corner, still looking a little uncomfortable, maybe exposed based on where they are, but they get the drop on Okeanos as he tries to set up that util. It ends up being a 1-for-1 as the salvo did hit, but lovely little pivot there, Ambrosia, midway through the pistol, sends them over to A, and M80 are constantly chasing their tail.
Absolutely great call. I love that they made that pivot, but especially, on top of that, they get such a lovely setup towards A. I liked to see Welly playing that situation very safe. He was just gathering info, causing delay in main, giving a lot of angles for M80 to have to re-clear coming back in. And then by the time they get to the site, the spike is also planted for a good position towards drop. I mean, excellent stuff.
Satellite is not able to get up to as fast the start as he would have liked. M80 trying to assert themselves more by pushing up the tree. That space that Ambrosia is going to have to clear, but they've not really made use of any of that early util, so they can still scale into that part of the map here without it being too problematic or time-consuming. No presence top side of the map for the attackers except their tripwire, you'll notice setup.
And just to make a wider point right now about Fracture in the map pool, this is one of the maps that has been playing incredibly straightforward, to the extent that a slow team like G2 just slams sites when they're on attack. It is fast-paced, and the Neon takes that to a totally different level. You're going to see a lot of let's go B with all of our util-type execs.
Okeanos wasn't able to interrupt the plant there. Welly, of course, But not someone that Sado wants to challenge. As I say that, he does exactly what I said he wouldn't do. He's taken down there. Push onto the side. Victor's able to deal with Satellite at the very least. And up on that corner now, Okiana finds a swing timing. Acreon ready for it. Victor was able to get a Bulldog, but I don't think there's much bite to back the bark up here. Okay, we take that challenge. Fair enough. 3 for Victor already. Give it a tickle. Acreon here. Shoulder spots Victor. Yeah, it's just too much to ask. And should it be needed, Glyph was waiting in reserve. They made it make it interesting, but that's all we could really say.
A decent bit of damage, enough to put Ambrosia on a weak buy here, unless they go for the highly risky full commit when you know that M80 will have their full arsenal ready to go. And so, yeah, it will just be a half buy forced onto Ambrosia.
That's 3.
Yeah, that's those last few moments there is Victor's able to get a Vandal. Excuse me, a Bulldog in hand. This time, okay, so we have Satellite going towards the top side of the map.
Smoke's down.
M80 want to push up pretty aggro on the A side, though.
Yeah, the intention is to make it look like they're going arcade side on B, but in reality, they want to absorb aggression from M80, and they are doing it well.
The players ready for this now. It's awkward. M80 that's impossible to get out of here. When you're fully committed on the defense side, you are committed. You're never getting out of there.
That is so cool. 5 versus 2. It is cooked for M80. Victor wants to be the hero, but oh, I thought he was going to be meeting the spectator screen, and now will.
He's the best seat in the house here to watch Bao try and go 1 versus 4 with this Phantom. Quickly, that one is put to bed. Ambrosia with a really nasty setup at the start of the round. Catch M80 unaware, and they're off to a red-hot start on the attack side.
They absolutely played M80, sending Satellite fast through arcade side towards B. They have one of the, I think multiple smokes actually down from Glyph there as well. Just hoping that that would enchant M80 into wanting to push out of A main, get that flank set up for a full retake, and then, oh, the entire team is waiting for us. That was all a bait. What a cool round to play on your bonus. That is really fantastic, and it's got Ambrosia in the driver's seat.
Again, a similar look for M80, almost identical, and Ambrosia are still ready for it. Obviously, it's a kind of play that's backed up with far less weaponry for M80 in a round like this. They still have the util to get themselves in those positions, but here comes a potential fast play towards Halls. This time, no Sato is positioned such that he can turn tail and get out should he need to.
Launching smoke.
Not being required to do that, Noah, as our pressure's going on to the other side of the map. Ambrosia really finding pressure points here everywhere.
And there's that swap was waiting for that, so Satellite now with the Vandal, so he can effectively take point, outlaw in someone else's hands, and here we go, fast to B.
Have a tap there through the smoke. Cybercade also obscuring vision, but Victor's still able to find the head of Shondex, and Sato gets involved with his own big eye, and it's up to Glyph now all of a sudden. Just as Ambrosia looked like they'd be able to stack round upon round against an M80 who were constantly playing catch-up. Now has to play out a 1 versus 2. One shot to either remaining defense side players, and spotted out by Bao. A trap wire in his face that Okeanos can swing off of. It's all but impossible for this Brimstone. Oh, what? What?
This is how
Sorry! Glyph just jumps it. Stick comes in, avoids the damage. That is ridiculous. Oki, surely, to be called on once more to salvage this from M80. Glyph is too clean with it now. Has tucked himself over towards Jen. Surely there's the timing off this that he can take. Oki, unreal! What a comeback for Glyph. What a dirty clutch to keep Ambrosia ahead of the game.
That was a mental, one of the sickest clutches I've seen in some time. Recognizing that the trip was placed too low, because I think Bao just kind of haphazardly threw that down late for info. Insanity. I can't believe that. That is so sick. M80 had a real shot at winning that eco just by flooding into the site, hitting some clean sheriff shots, and they end that round with disappointment.
Taste of ashes in their mouth. At least from those same ashes that have been able to scrounge some weapons to go again. Sato's with an operator now. Big investment for M80. It's business time for the defenders, apparently. Armageddon comes through on the B side, but
That's
mostly just observed to pass by.
With all those kills, excuse me, Glyph has the orbital strike of his own after they avoid Victors.
Waiting out. Stall util from M80. Ambrosia still have a decent stance to stand and fight should they need to. Glyph, I think, might have taken a tickle there earlier, and here comes Satellite. Now repositioning, rolling Thunder. And the Neon's able to get ahead of it. Trying to go through that smoke towards Kai's direction, but it will be a breach kill for M80. Now we're even. Okeanos looking on a timing, and Shondexo has heard it all. Oki can't check every one of these angles, and Dash Shondex is just going to have the drop on them. I cannot believe we're about to watch Ambrosia go up 5 rounds to 0. Sato's operator invested into this round finally generates some revenue. Shondex is taken down, and Sato says that is all I can manage.
Without the Neon, they won't be able to chase down these two M80 players. Sato will have the operator into this next round, where the team will demand heroics out of him to get back into this game. That time, Ambrosia keep it very simple. Again, this comp just excels at slamming B, having the missiles, the molly lineup. You can just easily get anyone out of tower. And then on top of that, Armageddon pushes someone out of the site. It's just so free. You essentially just get yourself in a 5-on-5 retake for free. And then as M80 try to get back in, they're running into the recycled utility. Glyph got his orbital strike up. It's overwhelming. Chet is forced into a timeout early.
Of course, M80 have to think about what strategy is supposed to revolve around the maintained operator for Sato. Can they put the Raze player in a position to succeed? He's just getting early killed. I feel like you give yourself some equity, some way to clamber into the round. This is almost flawless gameplay from Ambrosia. The reads have been astonishing, honestly. Against a team that honestly, it's kind of hard to maybe guess at what they're going to attempt to do just because they've made some changes into their lineup. But Miko, coach here for Ambrosia, making the right calls.
Certainly. We've seen Ambrosia. We've had the pleasure of watching them come into rounds with excellent plans. The one where they won the bonus, just bait M80 into them. And we've seen them make excellent mid-round pivots, the pistol round. And when you win the pistol and the bonus, you're in pretty good position to run away with the game. Again, we're looking at Sato here. He saved that op. He has to step up.
Ambrosia, yeah, happy to flash themselves onto this line. Sato, though, yeah, pretty determined to maintain it. I think if you give this up for free, you very quickly find yourself being shut out of the round. Like, oh, it's controller util. It's a trade. That's the best M80 can hope for now. Are playing up in such a way that they still have to fight for these weapons, but they're not ready for this. One kill has to be enough. Back up behind the cyber cage. Ambrosia are mad. Cage has certainly been rattled. Akrian with the shorty. Doesn't quite connect, but Wally just finishes the job. So now we're even.
We're getting a little bit silly. That neural theft is going to get valuable info for Ambrosia. They know that they can get into this site right now, but they don't have smokes to cover the angles. Trying to use the cage to do so, obviously less effective.
Highly stalled out. I think they're going to pull out here, especially with this pick on Victor. M80 have to do their due diligence and keep a player here. So that's Oki. Wants to clear tower. Already, Ambrosia get up towards Arcade, and yeah, that Hall's play, that moment from Akrian to turn tail at 1 health.
30 seconds
set up
left.
the post plant here, but help is going to be a little far away. It's a quick pivot by Caillou.
Another scenario where we've seen Ambrosia make the right decision in the mid-round. They know that a player is coming A main now because of a tripwire that had been placed there. Top of the round by Shondex. Oh, that timing.
What? Not punished for that. Oh, buddy, it's brutal, surely. Oki, yes, able to find him. Down to 60, though.
Enemy remaining.
Shondex handles Caillou. Every player in M80, or rather, the only player in M80, can know his position. And there it is. Ambrosia get another one on the board. Well, he finds 3 off the round. Competing with Akrian for the top of the scoreboard. A great change of plan for the attack side as they bounce across the map. It yields dividends, and these guys are fully stacked. They're going absolutely nuts, and this economy is getting out of control.
It's not that we haven't seen M80 put them in uncomfortable positions either. Look at this. I mean, they're up 4-on-3. The desperation to kill Bao there. But the story has been Ambrosia not cracking under the uncomfortability that M80 are forcing upon them. They are making the right mid-round decisions over and over. This is really impressive from these guys at the moment. Again, a team that has narrowly avoided being relegated. There was such a real and close chance that we would not be seeing Ambrosia in this second stage. And now they look like they're going to best M80, who finished in second place.
Okay, Hockey respects the KO util.
Beacon down.
M80 though, God, it's awkward. God, the map's been flipped on them. So uncomfortable. And yeah, they just get absolutely run down. Buddy, around here, that could be worth 2. M80 are forced into a save already. What? Bro, what is going on?
They just have no control of drop. They're over, they're trying to fight in main. Easy pinch for Ambrosia. It's the speed of the Neon.
Me, tweaking.
Me for real.
I'm tweaking out about this game.
Yeah, certainly the experts came into this saying M80 will win this 2-0. What was the prediction from Dan Dryad again before this day started?
There.
I actually don't know. Was it a
2-0.
Yeah, I want to say it was. But I don't think she said who would be doing the 2-0ing, right? I feel like she left that open to interpretation or to exploitation.
Now, that being said, I can't throw shade at anyone because if you look at that prediction graphic, I'm pretty sure we all picked M80.
Yeah, of course.
And it's reasonable.
Did.
And it's, I mean, you should be
It's
predicting
dishonest
M80.
not to predict them to win this game.
I mean, yeah, if you didn't predict them to win this, that is crazy.
It's like a Rivington prediction, right?
That's going for 6 demons on Prize Picks. That's what that is. It's just, you shouldn't be doing it. You're throwing money away. You should not have put your bread on Ambrosia. But hey, if you're one of the, I don't even want to say 1%. If you're one of the 0.01%, you're a genius or a fortune teller.
I mean, I was on the VCT broadcast and I told people they had to come today because they want to watch Luke Show's teammate, who I said it was kind of outperforming Luke Show, and just because he's a duelist, they should come watch Challengers today. They should watch this game. What's going on, Sato? Please, make me look like a buffoon. 0-7 is the scoreline. You are not seeing things. Now, I broke it. This is more standard, right? That arcade control. Start to scale in here. And you're right. Sato kept that rifle. Shondex now realizes they're on a clock. Bit of timing here. Trap wire triggered, but Bao can't connect off of it. There's going to be Welly falling. Spike loose here. Sato, good job. Just what I asked for, honestly. Nice showstopper connection and a kill to follow it up. But as things get a little bit awkward now because M80 do not have access to that better weaponry yet. Oki's coming down through tunnel. Gonna wrap around, but Victor
Spike planted.
can only just spam through the smoke, and you see Oki just got spotted by that Cypher cam.
I mean, weaponry is bad, but these guys are one-shottable. It's still incredibly dangerous. Shondek's going to have to be fast with the reactions.
One enemy remaining.
Has to be a trade there.
Last
Acreon's able to win it out with
standing.
30 health, and Victor, just one shot, man. Just one. There's no reason for Acreon to rush this. There's been no sound cues yet outside of Victor. Well, honestly, making plenty of sound here. But he's hedging for tower. And Acreon has got absolute cojones of titanium. Surely, bro. 8-0. Ambrosia. They're clowning on M80.
This is beyond effortless, beyond unchallenging. Ambrosia are showing no remorse. This should not be looking as simple for them as it has been. This is this is a crazy result. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself because the game is not over. And Fracture, listen, we have seen teams hard snowball on attack, again, because of the state of the meta, this map being in the pool, in the Taeho breach era. You can just get sites so easily. But I don't want to totally get ahead of myself because maybe out of this timeout, if M80 can just get, this is about to be the cope hour. This is about to be the coping hour. But out of this timeout, listen, on map 2, we saw when Chet called timeouts, M80, they were stringing rounds together. He can do it again.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Victor, he's won international trophies.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
is Chet.
Yeah.
Out of this timeout, he's going to give them the right call. They're going to win. They only need 3 rounds. Maybe even 2, but at least, yeah, I'd like to see 3. Then they win the pistol when they're on attack. They start to snowball, get a lot of orbs, and all of a sudden, they're back in the game.
I kind of wonder, what Chet's been cooking, because obviously, for those that in the know, Chet has been on a enforced leave of absence, I think is the best way to put it, from coaching. He's had a lot of time to sort of develop professionally. I'll say that without a hint of iron, believe me. Let's see what he's got. Gonna take a lot here for M80. Satellite. Okay, never mind. See Sato anyway. No problem. Oki tries to step up and is gonna be knocked down now. There's a defense looking a little bit flimsy here for M80 now, but Victor is in the vicinity and Caillou also getting in position, but Satellite is in on the site. Welly can be wallbanged down a little bit low, and Akrian also has seen better days health-wise. But Ambrosia is set for a 9.
Spike planted.
And Victor feels like he needs to be a hero. Swings to the smoke. It's caught. Oh my God, that is well played.
Oh, the neural theft is big. Still, Crossfire set up here, and Shonix is healthy, but Rolling Thunder is going to deny him. Now things get a little bit uncomfortable. Caillou crossing to the side. Still no tap on the spike. It's just come through. And of course, there is going to be Teho Util to make some time. Shonix had nowhere to go, nowhere to be. They knew he had to come from that one direction and one direction only. And Akrian is 30 health. Surely, we don't win this. No, not this time around. Not this time. Finally, M80 get themselves on the board, but it is not auspicious. It's with one gun in hand, so their economy still not necessarily solved. And Ambrosia now surely have a grudge.
If they win this round, Ambrosia, they are continuing to take over the game. That economy that you mentioned, massive credit to Bao and Caillou, the 2 players on M80 with the least experience. In 2025, they went for the approach of bringing in some new upcoming talent after having a couple of years with some very experienced guys, and they step up for the squad in that 2v4. Love the way they double face that site off the aftershock. Oh my God. All right, we're right back into it, and here comes the B-hit utility. Time to go fast.
Now forced out of tower there by that Molly. Victor, a little unsure where to be looking right now as that Armageddon comes through, and it is going to clip the site. A little bit scary. Valor able to get there still. Rolling Thunder also being committed. Ambrosia
One enemy
are
remaining.
determined to deny M80 any chance of bringing back a significant number of rounds. So much so that they've invested both of those initiator ultimates. But as you'll see, it's money, with air quotes, well spent.
Spike planted.
We are arriving at the doom you foretold. Their economy being destroyed last round by only having 1 player alive. They lose this round, and Ambrosia forces them onto an eco again straight away. They've got nothing. Round worth 2.
Sato looking to walk away. I mean, this is obviously a huge opportunity for him coming onto this M80 roster. Previously, garnering a lot of attention on that Glorious team at America's Ascension last year. The team themselves fell short, but obviously a number of promising prospects were looked at and eventually brought onto rosters such as this one. 2G as well, the team that did ultimately ascend from that tournament. All right, there you have it, folks. 9-1 here on this attack side for Ambrosia. And honestly, it's not been a fluke. It's not even that M80 are terrible. It's just not. Ambrosia just looked incredible individually. Some unbelievable clutches. Akrian, server admin right now, just deleting people from the game with console commands.
I don't want to say he's come out of nowhere and started farming on this 3rd map, but he was playing fine before. But he's just decided to take over the game. The Satellite has just been able to get in, make space, has been a victim to the anchoring and some of the Cypher trips, but everybody else step up after he's the first one going down has been ultimately irrelevant. Ambrosia now wanting to get into the A site where they do have to contend with the aforementioned trips, the worst enemy of the Neon.
Last thing, of course, this Satellite will be running into. Here's Ambrosia obviously pinching that A site, which they may make the incorrect gamble call and end up at B. So now they need to play through halls. A little uncomfortable. Still throwing these them forward. Sato, the one with the rifle. The one with the plan, allegedly, is riddled with bullets on the other side of that cyber cage. Now pushing towards the middle part of the map, and apparently we don't need to see M80 to shoot them this round. Ambrosia great intuition, and they're ready for everything M80 could possibly hope to throw at them with such a terrible buy. This is Victor, the only player with the Vandal, at least is able to put it to use to find the one. From here on out, it's also a mental game. Dragging yourselves out of the doldrums against a team that almost got relegated. That's a tough ask even for the best teams in Valorant.
In that situation, just watch Ambrosia's rotates around the site after they make the realization that the majority of M80 players pushed south side. They're coming through A main. Bet. We're fighting forward. We're taking a 2v1 towards spawn. Then they push into spawn. They flipped the map entirely. So M80 are coming into a situation where they're encircled trying to get out of A main. It is so well played. This attack app has been phenomenal.
Okay, let's run the 12th rounds now. Last of the half, of course. And a little bit to work with for both sides. Obviously, orbital strikes in hand for both of our competitors. It's Satellite going down early. Kaiyu this time, no nonsense approach to the round. Unloads on Glyph and Satellite and takes Ambrosia down to 3. Even a spike out in the open, and Ambrosia rather in tatters.
M80 said, why not stack 4 players on B? They're probably going to hit B again. Let's just anchor it. And having the numbers there works out. They get 2 on the board. My cope is real. Then now they just win the pistol. Maybe from there they take the bonus. 10-6. They're back in the game.
Sato ready for something like this.
One enemy remaining.
As well, they're just showing themselves they need to find a way to pave an entrance into this site. Akrian's got to step up. No choice for it.
Oh my god. And again, well, that's one of the moments where really paints the picture of the state of the game.
Yeah. Yep. Also, I think captured M80's frustration quite effectively there towards the end of the round, but not a darn thing that could have been done for Ambrosia. Still, I think we can safely say that getting 10 rounds on the attack side of Fracture is a very good look, but why you mentioned it. Teams tend to get on real runs on this map, and you can snowball those early leads here. So M80, just as capable of that in theory as this Ambrosia team. Can they start it with a strong pistol? Okeanos going up to light armor here. Ray Boss in attendance.
Yeah, with what I was saying, I was both heavily coping, but giving a semi-realistic way for them back into the game. It was both cope, but somewhat realistic cope.
I don't know what you call that. Sure. Into tunnel we go. Something that we actually didn't really see from Ambrosia very often. Like if they attacked Arcade, it was via the north side of the map. It's a little bit of an inkling here from Ambrosia that it's worth pushing out towards tree. They must not like what they saw there. So the players may be lying in wait. This has drawn Okeanos back from tunnel, and they've left Sato inserted there.
They are taking their time after making that initial noise. They want to wait for both Kaiyu and Okeanos to cycle those refreshables back up. They've gotten the missiles, still just waiting on the fault line. They're making presence towards A. Just trying to draw these defensive rotates, but it's not going to work. The crossfires make things look effortless.
Sato, can he match that? The answer is no. Well, he just flattens him. Once again, that spike is just in a really awkward spot, especially with the sky smokes you have to fight through. Kaiyu hoping that this fault line is going to be enough to get them when they need to be. Play off of it. Akrian's on an angle that leaves him pretty safe, and Satellite clearly had no problem peering into the situation. That is...
I'm going to say GG, buddy.
This is the most game of challenges I might have witnessed. I'm not going to lie. Just take your expectations and screw them up into little balls like a failed illustrator and throw them out the damn window.
M80 over-indexed so heavily on the fact that their presence in A main would draw more rotations from Ambrosia towards the site. But look at this. They just wander in with no smokes down. So they get cooked by these crossfires. And now they must force. They have all the stingers. They have to force. No other option.
Util is fine for M80, so no concerns there. He's just really playing off his own fault line here. Okay, I mean, yep. That's the thing you can do in Valorant. There wasn't really anything Shondex could do, I think, to help there with the smoke in the way. That timing, not sure. Right, these things get to work. This force, so far for M80, producing some results. Satellite, in a perfect world, can deal with most of this side, but Okeanos wisely went up to heavy armor this round. So I think Satellite might just be looking for an exit and then go next.
And Ambrosia defense really got scrambled. And Welly feels like he's just forced into the open to take a fight. There's multiple players just staring at Heaven right there in that instance. And then Shondex is just on the site isolated. Not the best setup. And maybe take advantage of that. And also, you know, most defensive setups on B, they just get cooked by Tejo Breach anyway. So not even that mad at them. Trying to play tower in this meta? Hilarious.
Yeah, not possible. There's a molly there first thing. I mean, that's why we just don't see KJ here as well. KJ's normally that tower player, right? There's a lot of reasons why. Tira's not a great option. Now at least her ultimate doesn't get instant nuked by other util, but definitely better options. And both teams agree that Cypher is the way to go there. Playing off so many of those trips. So let's run it back here because it was, you know, this force up here for M80 as every round is going to be to some degree, and they just gained a tower. That's my recap. That's what happened.
I mean, you're right.
Yep.
You're not wrong. I agree. He broke it down. Everybody has heavy armor, by the way. So, yeah, you're not going to find a kill, even if Satellite gets the shot. Let's see if
we are going to who's next? It's like a high striker.
Locating targets.
Anybody else want to have a crack at this?
This Oak is weak. I mean, it's a light at least.
Spike planted.
Okay, yep.
All right, guys, just send us to the next round.
Cool. Okay, if you're not going to be serious about it, just honestly, you can just jump off the map. Like, you're allowed to do that. I mean, we've seen teams do it.
Move on.
Yep. Thank you, Akrian, for making this so much less excruciating.
Team Ace.
I'd appreciate that.
I know, and I've opened my eyes, and round 16 is just around the corner. Ambrosia is still 2 rounds away from taking the entire series. Honestly, like, amazing 8-round run to start this game on that attack side. Yeah, build off a really important pistol, but man, the decision-making in the mid-rounding has really been what it is for me. Great stuff for M80, the way they've been on that defense side set up to have these trap plays against things they always knew were going to come from M80. Something to be said for developing, you know, a bunch of film on your opponent. Most of this half year has not been particularly exciting, but a good time is any to call a timeout maybe. Ambrosia, though, happy just to take rifles in here and get them to that important number 12.
Currently nowhere near believing in M80, but we'll see if they can get us there. As they are heavily stacked up towards RK. The B hit worked before. Let's run it back. Go for it again. Shondex is committed to anchoring.
Here's all of this. Don't play off this, it doesn't matter. Kai's caught with util in his hand, and Sara doesn't have enough time to respond. Cyber Cage active, and Welly takes the fight. Love these little timings for Ambrosia. Springing out of nowhere for a flawless round.
Yeah, the
whiplash for me, honestly, is what does it. The last 2 rounds, like, in terms of how vastly different they've been, doing me in.
Yeah, and I'm with you. And the thing I said about waiting for the point to believe in M80 not being there yet, I don't think we're getting there. I'm going to be real. I don't think we will be arriving at that point. Once a team is at 12, I mean, buddy, we're playing Valorant. You're going to get ultimates.
Honestly, this map really could have been an email, in hindsight.
Yeah, it really could have been. It absolutely could have been. I would have taken a PowerPoint presentation as well.
Okay,
that could have worked.
Something a little breezy, though, you know what I mean? Like, no more than 10 slides. And lots of pictures. I was
going to say 6. 6 slides with pictures, maybe some GIFs. Maybe some GIFs. Clearly
hasn't spent much time in the corporate world. I respect it. You break out that matrix. Go use your thing. Bao awkwardly get caught out by this. This allows Akrian just to get ahead now and forces a retreat back off that cyber cage. Bao doesn't want to give the space free. Can't afford to, but there's a trap wire in case he doesn't have to fully leave this side of the map. Elsewhere, M80 have got purchase at least into arcade. Right, we like that. Nicely done by Sato. Traded it out. Though was maybe hoping for a little bit more, but there's been a lot of space. And look at how M80 are populating it. All over the site now. Still no arcade tower presence for Ambrosius. So it's mostly going to be through Lincoln Canteen here. And okay, we're moving up into those sight lines. And Welly just says, okay, you want to give me the game? I will gladly take it. Victor is going to be anything but when this round is done.
30 seconds.
The spike tantalizingly far away from him. Looks to take the fight against Glip, but goes very low in order to do so, and the cleanup crew should be on the way. Somebody call the janitor.
Defenders
M80,
win.
your second to best team, I would say, after stage one, just got absolutely ram-ranched by Ambrosia.
Who had to stay in the league via the promotion relegation tournament, make some roster moves after doing so, and look like the God team. All right, our producer just said in the Discord chat, nice Preds, okay?
Wow. Okay, listen.
Curious.
That's crazy work. I don't know anybody
that is sick work.
Like straight after, not even like a moment of silence for any sort of like semblance of our dignity.
A second, bro. We didn't give them a second. That's crazy. But honestly, I'm just walking away from it like, damn, Ambrosia's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Those guys were, they were sick. They were playing like, so well on Fracture. Like, I'm not even, I don't want to take anything away from them. Like, this was just some terrible, egregious showing from M80.
Yes.
And they were able to just, outshoot them on a good day, which, we'll see that in an upset. That wasn't the case. Those guys played some amazing rounds. I loved their mid-round pivots on Fracture. That bonus round call was super sick. And taking it back to the other maps too, Ascent, they were excellent. Right? These guys just look good. Just impressed by them, for real.
Yeah, I think like a couple of clutches that really changed the course of, some of these rounds. I mean, Glyph winning that, 1v2, having to jump peek over a trap wire and then sort of win out from there was crazy. So well deserved. I'm really enjoying what we saw from this Ambrosia team. I just don't feel like I want to turn my ire so much on M80. Is just want to celebrate what we saw from a team who, again, had to narrowly avoid being relegated. We're going to go to a break.
You definitely have expectations for M80 coming into this. That is tough,
significantly not met, and I wouldn't, that's the way it goes, folks. Sorry about your Preds. Not sorry to the people who love to spam odds in the chat and get very mad when they realize that there's an upset happening. You guys know who I'm talking to. We'll be back after a break, folks. So Des is going to break down this ridiculous first map, and then we're just going to move on with our lives, I suspect.
easily like to give up, and they didn't really have that drive.
The expectation should be to win first place.
Get them to his end.
We kind of just threw at the end.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, M80 were winning 5 versus 3.
Look how quick this one.
Said at the top of the day that we knew a little bit more about these teams after what we got to see in stage 1. Said at the top of the day that M80 coming into this should be stronger than ever. And now at the end of our first series, all of us looking a little silly as Ambrosia, a huge upset to start off stage 1. And production, let's roll the predictions. We didn't get to hit these top of day, but yeah, Ash, this is a feeling across the board. All of us with an M80 prediction, and whew.
Yo, Prod was a little too excited to throw us under the bus to pull this up for the top of the post matchup. But yeah, this is one of those moments where nobody was expecting Ambrosia to come out this hot into this match. We have to keep in mind, again, M80 was their team that went second in stage 1 playoffs. This squad looked really good in that matchup up against SRB, and their expectations were that they were only going to get better with the additions of Chet and Victor to this squad, but Ambrosia showed up in spades today.
They really did. And before we even headed to Fracture, the fact that we got a map 3, the fact that both of the maps were really close, even in the loss on Split, it was a pretty good map. That was already, in my opinion here, Dan, a win for Ambrosia, considering the different journeys that these two teams have taken. And then outlining Fracture, well, it was a pretty bad loss for them last we saw it. So for them to come out of the gate here, 8 in a row before M80 could do anything, it just changed everything.
I cannot. I actually can't believe it, because we were map 1 and map 2 were really good. We're really competitive between the two. So that was my expectation going into this map of Fracture, especially when we talked about the rosters and when we talked about what they were going to be playing. We talked about Okeanos. We highlighted all these individual players from both squads. So we expected it to be another closed map, and it was not that at all. The little things that we talked about on, okay, what is the Neon going to be able to do? What are the win conditions here? Is Sato going to turn up? It just, for M80, it was just disaster. There was not a single opportunity where you think, or you felt like they could grab some momentum. Every single round, just won by Ambrosia, running it down, going into this B side with the Neon wall. And it's not even just the duelist getting the enter frags and one of the players farming out. They just had a very clear plan of, okay, we're gonna outmatch the tempo that M80 wanted to play on that first half, especially, and win it that way. It was unreal, and I'm really happy to see Ambrosia succeed like this, because we really did come into this match with some expectations. Okay, let's show us what you're going to be able to do with this roster that you changed kind of last minute after winning promo relegation, and they did more than what is expected. Again, on the other side, Chet and Victor being brought into the team and not getting this first win has to hurt. We know this M80 squad, though, they are likely to, you know, have some rough matches and then come back and look strong. But I mean, for Ambrosia, I actually want them to keep this momentum. They look amazing.
Yeah, I think that's so key for the side of Ambrosia. The fact that they're able to take this 2-1 and have this last map be so dominant for them, it's really good signs, I feel like, for the rest of the split if they're able to carry that momentum forward and whatnot. But you look over towards Ambrosia as well. You're talking a bit about that tempo. I think outside of general tempo, their decision making was also really quick and snappy, coming out from the calling that we were seeing from Glyph, who is slotting into the IGL role here for this team. And Acrean also had just an insane match today too. He started off like the first half 18-6. We saw the 10 out of 11 post plants being won from Ambrosia, and the big part of that was Acrean, his utility, and then just his micro game sense and a lot of those key moments. I'm thinking back to that 1v1 up against Victor over on that B site, and the fact that he just had the intel and just the intuition to wait and know that Victor was looking for him. He wasn't sticking half or anything like that. It was just mind games on the side of Ambrosia.
I'm so excited for this Ambrosia going forward. They had a lot of changes, but changes that have really, really paid off. And formal apologies to them for underestimating them in this series. But that's going to be an apology to actually make to the team with Glyph on the line now for the post-match interview. So let's head on over to that, get a little more insight. Apologies for not being familiar with your game. This was absolutely incredible. I mean, this was a team that less than 2 weeks ago, you guys were fighting for your lives in the promotion relegation tournament. Now you've taken down what is the second best team that we have from stage 1 challengers with a dominant map 3. Like, what has happened in those last 2 weeks of such a turnaround like that?
Yeah, so we made a lot of changes within our team, and we've added 2 new players, and I think the roles fit a lot better. And then with a new dynamic with the team structure with me calling now, it fits our play style really well, and there's a lot of improvement that we can have. Even though like we did win 2-1, there's a lot of like mistakes that I feel like we let fall through, and a lot of like our micro that we could work on, and just like individual errors. But most of it was just due to like people being more on comfortable roles and then just having fun more and just enjoy playing with each other and trusting each other more.
I love to hear about that fun and that trust for this team, especially like things have clicked so well. And I want to talk about you, Colleen, because that was obviously a big question we had going into today's series is how is that was going to work out. So you had these new players come into the team. Was it a conversation from the get-go that you were going to IGL or more so, hey, somebody needs to do this. I have to step up. And how has this experience been for you so far?
It's been very rewarding. It wasn't necessarily in contention early, where it was like, I'm going to pick up IGLing. It was more so just someone needed to do it, and it was the only way to make it possible to be able to play with like such talented players like Welly and Shondex and be able to bring and try out different people. But it's been very rewarding, the fact that like I can put in a lot of work and have a specific like theory or a vision for the game or a gameplay that I want to try, and being able to like practice and put a lot of time into that and having my teammates trust me and then watching that succeed is very, very happy to see, especially during on Fracture and the maps that we won. Unfortunately, Split didn't go our way, but we tried our best, and I'd like to really thank our coach Mikol, because he's helped a lot on the game plan side of things and making sure that we're all firing on all cylinders. We can just focus on playing our game and having a good game plan to call and play around.
I mean, the map 3, this Fracture was incredible, but I want to even talk about earlier in the series. I know Split, you didn't get to close that out, but both on Ascent and Split, we got to see that when you guys called timeouts, you did get a really good turnaround afterwards. You called one right away, round 5 on Ascent. You did get one for Split where you start getting rounds. And I want to know, is that just fixing those little errors, still getting comfortable with everything, considering it only has really been 2 weeks since it's all been together? What was the biggest difference maker there?
Calming everyone down. It's a new team. We're relatively like low experience, so we don't really like work that much together because we are relatively new, picking up people like within just a week ago, basically now. So a lot of it was just like calming down nerves for our first match, like any jitters, and just like refocusing and putting our attention back in like the current round, and instead of like focusing on the past or making up too much hypotheticals in our head and not playing to our game. So that was like a big thing that our coach took timeouts for, as well as just like making some good calls. He had a lot of good adaptations and adjustments depending on the round whenever he called them.
A lot of sense. And final question that I have for you, obviously, this is a huge statement win to be starting off the Split, and almost like this start of a potential Cinderella story, considering Ambrosia's story. So I want to know how you feel about this core of 5 players, your coach, everything heading now into Split 2.
I'm really excited with this group of players. There's a lot of talent and a lot of potential with it, and I feel like our ceiling is really high. I just think with time, and given that we're able to add more structure, practice more, and add to those things and improve just as like a team rather than just individuals, that we can be really good, strong contenders and eventually win more games than just one like last Split, hopefully. But we're really excited to just like keep playing and grinding and getting as many wins as we can and hopefully make playoffs this time around. But yeah, I think our ceiling is really high, and I'm really excited, and everyone's really fun to play with and very open to like staying late after and VOD reviewing or going over strats or just going over anything that we feel like we need to work on. And I really appreciate that with this team.
I mean, we've definitely been so excited to see this version of Ambrosia. So congratulations on this win. Thank you so much for talking. Best of luck with your next set of matches, okay?
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. You too. I mean, Challengers, every step of the road has just always these twists and turns, and love to see Ambrosia and this turnaround to start off the Split. Of course, that's just the first series of the day. We still have one more. After the break, it's going to be TSM going up against YFP. Stay tuned.